Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies, strengthening your business while offering your talents to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Giver Marketing Network and the Kingdom Warriors broadcast. So we're here going to be talking about marketing trends for 2023 and beyond. I love what you put together, Christine. We've been kind of going back and forth on it here recently, and really a lot of our conversations, right, Christine, have been around marketing that not only worked in the past, but it's working right now, and it probably will continue in some form moving into the future. It's timeless type of principles that you tend to bring to the table. So thank you for preparing this marketing trends for 2023 conversation that has immense value moving forward. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, and we did part one last time, right? So now this is part two. So if anybody missed part one, go back, find us on YouTube and watch the previous video. And we went into some trends there. Because if we go over too many at once, we can't go in depth. And we want to go in depth and actually give you something valuable you can walk away with and use.
That's right. That's right. Hey, with that, Christine, for those who are tuning in for the first time, tell us a little bit of your story. How did you get into the marketing space to begin with? What's the background?
Oh, goodness. All right. I built my first website back in 1990. So it's way back when. I took some time. I taught college communication courses, fell in love with teaching, and my heart to give was born right there. And I've been doing it ever since. So giving is just what I do. And so when I started doing more in the marketing space, I actually didn't mean to start there. I actually started with credit card processing. After I taught, I took some time off, raised my kids, and my mama said, "Hey, why don't you try credit card processing?" And I thought, okay, why not? No, not doing it. You don't get to build relationships, and that's really what I'm all about. So when I had a chance to check out networking and I dove into that, and I found people kept asking me, "Hey, can you give me some communication advice? Can you give me some marketing advice? Can you give me some network?" And there you go. Next thing you know, I had a business.
And now they call you the networking diva, and there is a reason for that. You're one of the only divas I've met that have a sense of humility, but still are confident in what you do. So I really appreciate that about you.
There's a fine line right there, and that's a whole nother discussion we can hop into, Timothy.
That is right. But I wanted to point that out because when people work with you, they're going to find this kind of humility factor that's refreshing, but confidence that helps you get to where you want to go. So I really appreciate that. Hey, let's dive in. Let's just get right into the visual. People are so excited to learn more about what's really working and what will continue to do so.
Well, so, we're talking about some of the top trends of 2023, and these are trends that I think are going to continue on into, for the next few years at least. I can't imagine that I wouldn't. And so these are things that you can implement now in your business. So if you're not already doing it, think about it. I think it'll make a difference. So let's talk about that a little bit. So you already met me, you met Timothy, so you know who's hanging out with you today, and we're here to help. So reach out anytime to either one of us. So the three things we want to focus on, this part two of our series of marketing trends, is blogging, direct messaging, and short videos. Okay? So if you're not already doing these, think about it. We're going to give you some ideas. All right, let's launch into blogging. Okay, so content marketing, like blogging, it has a lot of value to it. But let's first talk a little bit about what blogging is. Timothy, feel free to jump in and interrupt anytime because you have loads of knowledge too.
This is fun. I love this.
So when we talk about blogging, right, this is where you're writing the long form, right? It's not the cute little picture and the one-liners, right? Those are nice, those are easy, but blogging really is your content. This is really where you're proving your credibility. This is where you're helping people understand what your superpower is. This is your chance to offer solutions. This is your opportunity to really engage and share your knowledge with your audience. And so if you're not taking advantage of blogging, you're missing an opportunity there to really interact with your audience and let them know who you are, what you stand for, how you can help, right? Your values, what your goals are, right? So it's one of the ways that people reach out and consumers find new brands is through blogging, right? So there's a lot of different ways to use your blogging, and I want you to use it to your best advantage.
I'm curious when it comes to blogging, and looks like we're going to get into some statistics here. How people are kind of using that long form content now versus even 6 months ago or 12 months ago. That'll be a fun thing to touch on here in a second.
Yeah, I think it's something that's getting stronger. It's not going anywhere. It's been around for a while now, and I think it's just growing stronger. It's really helping. If you like to post on social media, it's going to make a difference on your impact and your visibility because we've been talking about some training on LinkedIn, and we should probably dive into that also. But let's start here. 77% of people read blogs on a regular basis. And you think about that, that's actually quite a few people out there reading blogs. You wouldn't think there are that many of us interested in reading that deep, but it's not all about puppies and rainbows, though I like to think it is on social media. There's a lot of stuff on blogs too. Yeah. And 56% have purchased something from a brand after reading one or more blog posts. Think about that. That's a pretty high number.
Yeah, it tells me that putting a nice, meaningful, helpful, valuable, longer form piece of content together that's well drafted and edited so it doesn't look like weird and crazy. It looks fairly clean, and maybe you throw an image on there that makes sense to what you're about to read. You're good. I mean, there's some value there.
Well, and you think about it, right? If you just threw up an image that said, buy this, okay, right? Very salesy, very pitchy, and it's not really giving us a lot of information. But a well-written blog talking about how this, whatever it is you're trying to sell or push or whatever it is, right? You want to think about if you write a nice, well-thought-out blog on that and show the advantages of it, or show a case study, or show a story of how someone's benefited from it. That goes a lot further than just a picture saying, buy this.
Yep, our mind's eye creates the movie while we're reading. And so that's a very important craft that we can either hire out or get some assistance with, or just hit it hard and use the gifts and talents of writing that we some of us have. So that's good.
That's a great point, right? Not everybody is a big writer. That's not their strength and that's not their superpower, but that's okay. You too can benefit from blogs. We promise. Right. And that's where you said, bring in somebody who can give you a hand. We see a lot going on with AI right now, but be careful not to just copy and paste. Right. You want it to be original. You want it to be thoughtful. You want it to reflect you and your brand. And so be careful of copy and paste models.
Hey, can we talk about that for just a second? I'm sure we'll talk about it more.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about it more in the later slides, but the warning of copying and pasting is a pretty common theme right now. And it's probably because people tend to take shortcuts when they're either tired or frustrated or confused or whatever's going on. What's the big reason for not copying and pasting?
To me, it's really about when you're blogging, this is your chance to connect with your audience. And if you're just copying and pasting someone else's words, you're missing out on that opportunity. You're not being authentically you. It may not even be accurate, right? Some of the AI stuff, they'll tell you, it's not necessarily all true either. So you might be putting up something that's completely misrepresenting, what you're trying to share about. you really want people to know you, and you can't do that if you're using someone else's information.
I would probably use an analogy like, you get those cake mix boxes at the grocery store, and if somebody asks you for a cake and you just put that on the table, that's not necessarily a cake. That's the potential to be a really great cake if you put some love and some human effort into it. But it's got to come out of the box, got to be like put together, mixed up a little bit, and put your touch on it. And so when we're using these tools, whether it's somebody else giving you a draft or an AI assistant of some kind or resource, even taking some like blogs from what other people have written and kind of taking the best out of those three and kind of working them a little bit together and changing them up and making us put a story in the middle of it and kind of putting your own version of it together so it actually makes sense for you. Whatever you're doing, put your touch on it so that people can sense that's your voice. It's actually got something in it that it really only could come from you. They can tell this is from you, and that makes you unique. And the moment you start losing your unique factor or your special factor, that's the moment your brand starts it's becoming devalued in the eyes and the hearts and the minds of the reader or the listener. And so at that point, I think it's important to use the tools, save yourself some time on the creative front end process, but make sure and put that special sprinkles on top that only you can do. Good. Well, that's a little nod to AI and others who are assisting us in building this content. So that'll be good.
Yeah, it may not be your specialty, and that's okay, and if it's better for you to speak and dictate the words, right, and then go back and edit it, that's another way you can do your blog, right? There's more than one way to do it.
That's a good
So
tip.
there's many right answers.
Love
Yeah.
that.
So when we talk about blogging being here to stay, right, brands own their blogs, and that's exactly what you're talking about, Timothy, right? And what's cool about it is it reflects your brand, and at the same time, it's yours, right? You can host it on your website, you can share it to different locations, and you can share it to social media, but it's yours, right? It's not like if you have it on your website, no one's going to take it down. There are not going to be rules and regulations based on that so much as like you might have with some of the social media. And I know that's an issue with some people posting on social media is the censorship issue, right? And so when you've got your blog and it's coming from your website, right, you have a little bit more control over what's there and what people can see, which is nice.
Great point. Great point.
Yeah, and talking about blogs providing a consistent hub of educational, entertaining, and engaging content, right? And when you think about that, right, those are all different ways you can use your blog, right? Educate your fans, let them know the latest trends. It's kind of like what we're doing right now, right? Let them know about the trends, educate them on what's going on in the industry, educate them about their possibilities, right? Entertain them, do not bore us. Please do not bore us.
Yes. And there's an evergreen factor when you're able to host that content on your own platform. So great job. Good point.
Yeah. Things that we're going to engage with. So part of your blog, ask questions, ask for feedback, ask them to share a similar story, or have you had this happen before? Or right, ways to get people engaged a little bit. Right? It's not, blogs are intended to be a little bit more educational, yes, but also interactive. Not just
nowadays they should be interactive, right? There was a time when it was just kind of like, here's my content, read it or not. But now it's like, hey, please make some comments. Let's make this interactive and interesting. Plus, people love to contribute, so that's good.
We were talking about social media, and with your blogs, you can put part of it or all of it on social media, but then you can also link back, right, and send people direct traffic to your website. Right? And that helps with your SEO, because anytime you've got something on social pointing to your website, Google says, "Oh, this must be important. People are pointing to this." Right? So that helps with your SEO too. So be sure to put it wherever you can, right? Multiple uses. And this is what we're talking about right here. Use your blogs in multiple ways. Right? So if you're going to go through trouble to create something, then why not get the most out of that content, right? So if it's a video and you do a video blog, right, transcribe it. Now you've got an actual written blog. Take that blog. You can put it in a newsletter that you send out to your mailing list. You can put it on social media and drive traffic back, right? Use it in multiple ways and have fun with it. There's no sense in recreating the wheel, constantly, right?
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, write the word repurpose in the comments.
Absolutely.
Repurpose. And that'll help us all remember that some of the content we've created maybe even years ago could be turned into something very special with a few extra ingredients or a little editing, a little updating. And if it hasn't been published to all of your channels, then maybe it's time to take your content that you've already created and retool it, repurpose it, re-edit it, and bring it back to life. Great concept. Thank you.
Right. Sometimes it's a matter of going in and updating it, right? And so if you got to go back, if you're saving them on your website, you might go back and update and put updated on, right? And make it current. You might even repost it again if you haven't posted it in a while, or if you had a different angle on it or more information or things. And I don't want people to forget the idea of guest blogging.
Come on, tell us more about this.
All right. So, for example, I know if you're part of an organization, for example, I'm on the board of directors for the DFW Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Well, so we invite our members to submit their blogs to us. This way we can put it on our website and share and help share more information, right? So when you have an opportunity to guest blog with either an organization you're already with a partner, with somebody with similar concepts. Like we had somebody reach out recently and said, hey, what if we did some stuff on PTSD? And we're like, that would be a great topic for us to have blogs on the Chamber site, right? So look at who would want your information. And a lot of people, if they don't seem to have a lot of time to do their own blogs, you might have to do some guest blogging for them. And that helps put you in front of their audience, which then grows your audience.
I love that. In fact, right now, for those in the Giver Marketing Network, Kingdom Warriors, awesome movement that's happening right now. For those who want to be a guest blogger on one of our platforms, please reach out to me or Christine, Eric Skeldon, Andrew Snow, some of the folks that you might know, Katie Jordan, she was on last week. Reach out to us and we will help you get your content out to platforms where there are a lot of eyeballs. There's some people coming and going. So we want to help you kind of get more attention on what you're doing. So that's a great call to action. In fact, those of you who are watching and listening either now or in the replay, write in guest blog, because I think that's a good action item as we go into the rest of our presentation today. Guest blog. I like that. I'm writing that down too.
It's a good one. It is. And really think about other people that you might not be competition for, right? But you might work really well with. So if you think of it that way, right? Whether it's nutrition and health related and you're, team up with somebody else who's involved in that same space, but there's a lot of different avenues within that, right? Yeah. So look for those opportunities.
Good. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm a little hungry. I just got a growling tummy there for a second. Don't worry about that. Go for it, Christine. What do we got next?
All right. What else we got going? So what should you be blogging about? So I want everybody to take a moment and think, okay? Think about what you should be blogging about, because a lot of times people get lost on what do I say, right? So start brainstorming, like we said, putting things in chat is a great way to write things out and help for other people's ideas and help you remember so you can reflect back, right? So what should you be blogging about for your business, right? So take a moment. If you're going to do a blog, come up with at least 3 topics that you would do blog topics on, right?
Hey, I'm going to say for those who are listening, this is interactive here. So type in the comments what one of your favorite blogs could be, should be, or already has been. Give us a topic that you have either written on, would like to write on, or are excited about, or qualified to kind of talk about. Write that in the comments, because what will happen is everybody in the comments will maybe ask each other to guest blog on each other's platforms. So let's use this right now in the real time, and also, those who are watching the recording, write a topic, one topic at least, in the comments that helps people understand what you could write about. This is great.
I love it. So much fun. And blogging really should be fun. It should be something that you can enjoy, something that showcases your specialties, and it should be something that really helps show who you are, right? So love on this. This is a great opportunity to interact with your audience. Well, so we've talked about blogging now. Okay, are we ready to move on?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Direct messaging. Okay, when we say direct messaging, right, we're talking about all those little apps that you have where you can send messages to people one-on-one, right? So we're familiar with it on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, right? A lot of your social media apps, maybe your special circle things. I know we were looking at different platforms, whether it's Slack, right? Circles, there's all sorts of options out there. And there's direct messaging options in there. So those are what we're talking about here. So it's really starting to grow as a customer service tool. And I don't see that going away because it's a great one-on-one way to reach out to somebody. So I just don't see this trend stopping. And we're finding
direct messaging, if it's done well, which you're going to address that in a few minutes, but if it's done in a classy, classy way, then you're going to get the statistics right now are you're going to get at least double the response of an email campaign by itself. And so just the fact that you're going to have a little bit more like context, I know who's sending this, I know a little bit about them, like there's just a lot of value if it's done well. If it's not done well, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot. And there's always a warning with every great activity. Okay. Like people take the shortcut and they don't think through why they're doing what they're doing or a classy way to do it. And then it creates kind of a weird, like taste in people's mouth. It's like a brand. It's almost like sales breath begins developing or brand weirdness starts developing. Like we don't want that. We want to make sure that is done well. And so that's why we're talking about this way.
Absolutely. And it's about making it real, right? It's about real connections and it's all about building those relationships. And if you do it in a way that's kind of spammy and yucky, then that's not going to work really well. And we'll talk about that. Yeah, we're finding though that the consumers are spending more time on the messaging apps, right? And it's not just, like when you first started texting, it was, okay, well, see you soon, or right, now we use those all the time, right? I know with my kids, they'd rather text than pick up the phone and make a phone call. So it's really texting on the apps has really become a cultural norm, right? So the apps have evolved to allow more than just an ongoing back and forth, just to make plans. Right now, it really our messaging apps are so all inclusive. And I remember way back when we first started even having text messages, and people would have the text messages, and you could do pictures and stuff, and you're like going to the gym, going, does that person have their phone out? Like, what are they doing? Right? It was kind of creepy, right? But now you wouldn't think twice of somebody being in the gym and texting somebody, or it just seems like normal. And so as a culture, we've really accepted the direct messaging as being an important part of our culture, right? So on our Facebook Messenger, and for a lot of Facebook fans out there, right, our customer service channel at the forefront of conversational marketing. Okay, what? But really, we were just talking about authentic communication, right? Conversational marketing. That's really what direct messaging is about.
Great phrase. Put that in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Conversational messaging. That's a good rule of thumb. Really good tip.
If it doesn't feel good to you, then it probably doesn't feel good on the other side receiving it. Right? Is it a conversation? That's really what it's about. When we think about marketing, we think of one to many, right? We're trying to get that information out. But by using direct messaging, you can make it more into and take it out of the marketing realm and more into the sales realm, if you can do it in a way that's very organic and sounds good and is sweet and developing that relationship, right? And think about how often people actually answer direct messages. And this probably has a big impact. You say, email is great, sends it out to a lot of people. At the same time, how many people open every email every day? Right? But we're more likely to open a text message, and we're more likely to open our Facebook Messenger, right? So you have a higher
our
chance.
social media of choice has become a lot of people's inbox.
Mm-hmm.
because they just say, "Hey, message me on this platform," or text me or message me on
Mhm.
LinkedIn or message me on Instagram or message me on Facebook. Whatever the case may be, some people are WhatsApp, some people are this. There's all these
Mhm.
different platforms that are preferred channels of communication. And so if we can find that out, most of our audience or a lot of our audience could be on this platform. Do what Christine's saying. Do start messaging there, not in a annoying way, but in a conversational marketing, right?
Conversational marketing style. That's right. Have real conversations with people, and you have a better chance of them actually responding there than in an email. And to the point where I get so many emails. I don't know about you, but 50, 100. Somebody else told me the other day to get like 300 messages a day, right? Things get lost in there, but I'm not getting that many direct messages, thank goodness, right? But if I was getting 300 a day, I'd probably start ignoring that too. So right now, this seems to be working well, though. And I'll tell people if you send me an email, send me a direct message on text, messenger, whatever, and let me know to go check my email. And I don't think I'm the only person that's doing that now. So direct messaging, a lot of times we pay more attention to and we open it more, right? And we have chatbots, right? And you can enable the automations on those. And those work to an extent, right? They're fun, they're interactive, and you can have some pretty cool chatbots on there. But really, it's the one-on-one interaction where the conversation really shines and you can get the kind of results you're looking for.
Yeah, I would say with chatbots and automation of any kind or AI of any kind, we want to take it from like what's the basic topic of what we're talking about here, bring it down so that when we do start interacting as a human, because we're going to interject. Oh, we're going to
Mm-hmm.
always interject when it comes to automation.
Mm-hmm.
The question is how quickly. And some people let the automation go too far, and
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes super frustrating, like you're talking to a bank, app or something, right?
Right?
But
You're
for
saying
some people, they
zero,
don't
zero,
use
operator, operator, I want
want a
operator.
human being. I just want a human. Uh, but then there's people that don't use automation at all because they've gotten frustrated one time or a couple times, and
Mhm.
it's just they don't want to set it up. It's just not for them for some reason. We're gonna encourage you, try to at least set up one message on the front end that says, "Tell us what you want to talk about," or "Set a time using this link," or "Tell
Right.
us more about what your question is." Somehow either ask a question or send them to a place that they can ask a question to a human. One of the two. Like, make sure that you can answer that question in a relational, conversational type of way, and they don't need to know it's an automation. You just need to ask an intelligent question on the front end so that they feel cared for. People need to feel like they're being paid attention to when they do have a question, and that's it.
Right, and you might ask yourself, what are the questions that most people will message me about? And you could have those pre-ready, right, for your chatbot. So they have just need answers to certain questions. If you have a brick and mortar location, what's your address? You could have pre-questions. They could pick and choose. What's your phone number, right? Some people will put an automation on that just says, hey, the fastest way to get a hold of me is text me at, right? Or
Yep,
call me
nothing
at,
wrong with
right?
that. Nothing
And
wrong
that's
with that.
fine.
Yep.
Yes. The idea is
Sometimes
that
we overthink it, right, Christine? We're like,
uh,
"Oh, it's automation and it's this. We gotta create this whole funnel of like 15 different steps and all." You can later if you feel like that's necessary for your particular business, but just start with something that's helpful.
yeah, it could be here's my booking link. Would love to talk to you.
Yep.
Right? It doesn't have to be super complicated, but sometimes it just helps to be able to get the ball rolling, right? Because if they send you a message and they don't hear back from you, and they still don't hear back from you, and you may not get to it to the end of the day, right? It slows things down. They may have moved on to someone else who can answer the question sooner and faster, right?
Great
So
point. Great point.
give them an opportunity to communicate with you further. If nothing else, telling them where to do that, right? Because it's hard to be on all platforms at all the time, right? Sometimes I'm in a meeting and I'm in back-to-back meetings and I'm not available right away. But if they know that, hey, if you book here, oh, okay, then I have set time with her and I've got her undivided attention during this window. Perfect, right?
Do you
So
feel
there's
like that's
options.
why some people don't engage in these type of activities because it just gets too hard to manage?
I think so. And if you can, even if you had had it across multiple platforms saying, text me here, text me here, text me. Everybody's sending you to text. And, really at that point, the only place you need to check is text messages, right? And so if you need to send them all to one spot to make it a little bit easier on yourself, you can do that.
Great point. Good job. Thanks, Christine.
Yeah. So direct messaging, really, there's direct messaging on Instagram, which lets you send links. A lot of times we've seen in social media where if you put the link in the top, it runs into problems, it messes up the algorithms, they're less likely to show your stuff and things. But you can use direct messages in Instagram, which is great. And we're seeing when it comes to sales and customer service, it's nice and easy, right? We've got the built-in sales systems and stores built into some of our social media apps, like if you're going to sell on Facebook, you're going to sell on Instagram. So it's nice to be able to interact quickly with your clients that way, or with your potential customers, or new customers. So it's nice to have an avenue where you can talk to them rather than a formal email. They have to wait for them to check the email, which we already decided they may or may not check. How easy is it to be able to just say, hey, just wanted to say thank you?
Yeah, I'm starting to see a kind of a trend around email. We can talk about this another week, maybe next time. But email becomes almost like a secondary message that reminds people of what's already happening.
Yeah, or they'll send a direct message saying, hey, go check your email. We just sent you something on this, which is important. And email is still alive and well. It definitely is still a good moneymaker for e-commerce. It's still a great way to communicate with your clients, but you just have to expect that the response time on it is probably going to be a little bit slower.
Yeah, it's starting to be used a little differently, but
Mhm.
yeah, sounds great. So
Yeah.
direct messaging on Instagram, you can pop those links in. I know on Facebook you can do that. Sometimes there's a little bit of and LinkedIn as well. Sometimes there's a little bit of like there's a security consideration. So make sure and put that HTTPS in the link itself, so that it's not being flagged by these platforms saying, oh, that's an unsafe link, or that was spelled incorrectly, or make sure your spelling is on point, and that you have that kind of that security recognized link that you're able to put in there.
Yeah, I'm also going to point out on top of that, Timothy, is if you don't put that HTTPS, colon / if you don't put that part in, it's not clickable. So now we have to copy, paste, move, right? Whereas if you make it easy for us, we can just go click, boop, it opens. So whatever you can do to make it easier for your clients and customers to interact with the information you're giving them, let's do it, right?
Great point. And many times it's not clickable. Sometimes they'll create the hyperlink, but sometimes it's the wrong. It just doesn't work. Sometimes so yes, let's make it easy. Let's make it clickable. Let's do it. Yes.
Let's make it easy. That comes true for direct messages here. It also counts inside your Zoom meetings and everywhere else. So people put things in there. I'm like, that's not clickable. Make it easy for us.
Good point. Good point. All right.
All right. So direct messaging, it's not ruled by algorithms. It's not like when you post on social media and only 3% of your followers get to see it. No, you send it to them, they see it. It's amazing the way that works, right? So it's not limiting, none of the algorithms are limiting your visibility. So it's a great advantage there. It says that only 15% of Facebook users actively seek out products. Okay, well, that's not very many, right? But if you send a unique message, right, and you're letting them know about something, they may not have originally been interested in it, but you might catch their interest then, and they're going, oh, I hadn't thought about that. Oh, that's cool. Is that a thing? Oh, tell me more about that, right? So they might not be there to be sold to, but sometimes we can intrigue them into wanting to buy something they didn't even know they wanted.
Good questions, conversational style, like you're saying, warm the conversation up, and then if they ask, or if they start clicking around, checking out your stuff, and you start seeing them comment, then you can get into a deeper conversation. But it's just like any other relationship, right? You're the networking diva. I mean, this is basically networking on social media, essentially, is what this is, right? So
Yeah.
come on, let's go, guys. Let's use our relational intelligence and our emotional intelligence as we're doing this. I love it.
Right. Like I said, if it doesn't feel good for you to send it, it doesn't feel good for them to read it. So build those relationships, right? We talk about automating. This is a reference back to that, automating those direct messages, and you can have a bot handle it right from the other side of it in case you can't respond right away. And we know that sometimes you can't, and that's okay, right? And this is also where it helps to bring in some help. Maybe if you don't have enough time to handle all that, maybe that's one of the things you want to have a VA handle for you, right? They go in and check your messages, a couple times a day for you and respond to things they can respond to and let you know if there's something urgent that you need to respond to. So there's a lot of options.
Nothing wrong with asking for help.
That's right. Help comes in handy. All right. So how can you use direct messaging without being spammy? Oh, that to me is huge. So I want everybody to kind of think about that, right? How can you change it so that it's not spammy? I had a friend recently show me an email he was going to send out. And that email was mentioning, hi, I hope this letter finds you well.
As opposed to
finding you not well? I don't know. To me, it just seems really spammy to start with, right? I'm like, I don't think that's really what you want to send, right? And he's like, well, I'm being polite. Have you found that the more polite you are, the spammier you sound?
Oh, that's interesting. I've never thought about it that way. Okay, hey, ladies and gentlemen, don't be spammy in the comments. This is a good reminder for all of us. We've mentioned it, alluded to it a little bit here recently, but this is so important because you can actually take a great concept and ruin it, make it undigestible by using tactics that maybe you saw somebody else use and you're hoping that it just turns into a quick sale. And really what you're doing on social media, it's not necessarily always selling. It's communicating to build trust in a relationship to the point where you earn the right to get into either a sales conversation or a sales meeting of some kind. We call them decision meetings around here, but bottom line is this: don't assume you have the right to sell anybody anything until they give you that right. And if you think that way, then the conversations, communications, messaging becomes more relational first. It's not bait and switch. You literally need to ask, here's a tip: just ask questions that you're actually interested in. You actually care. Like, you actually want to know, how are they doing with this, or what what did you find interesting when you went to visit this, or what have you been doing during the summer that affects this? Like, ask intelligent questions that actually make sense to a human conversation. Like, if you do that and take Christine's tips, you'll probably be less spammy than you have been in the past. I know I have been hanging out with Christine. We've kept each other kind of accountable to this kind of thing. Like, is that spammy? Is that not? Can you help it? Like, can we help each other on this? And it's been great to have somebody to bounce those type of ideas off of. So thanks for this slide. It just really goes, okay, reminder.
It's so important, right? When you're building relationships, because you're not going to get very far if they're like, oh, it's kind of like when somebody calls you on the phone, they go, hi, how are you doing today? This is so-and-so from such and such, right? You're like, you don't really want to know how I'm doing today. You don't really care. But as soon as you hear that, you're like, click.
Be genuine, be authentic, actually care, be curious. Curiosity is a really good approach to this kind of thing. Thank you, Christine, for mentioning that. It's really, really important.
I think it is. I really do. Now, our third area that we're going to focus on, and actually we're getting short on time, so we're just going to go short on this. So short videos, right? Short, snappy content, your TikTok, your Instagram Reels, your YouTube Shorts, right? Fast-paced, easy to digest content from our favorite brands. All right. So when you think about that, right? These are the short, little, fun, make us smile, right? This isn't so much about, this is more entertainment value, right? More than anything else. This isn't the big, long, detailed blogs. This isn't the direct messages. This is the fun. This is where you bring the fun in to and it can be more serious, but a lot of times this is where we bring the fun into our business. Okay, so use this opportunity to grab people's attention, right? So great time for micro stories, right? Those have the best rewards. Basically, we're saying that our attention span of our consumers are pretty small. I have a little goldfish up on here because we say we have the attention span of a goldfish, right? So 1 second later, what? Shiny object, oh, right? So we really need we need some short, fun stuff to kind of grab our attention and represent our brand and get people to look closer than at the other stuff. Once they start following us, then they get to see all the other cool stuff that we have, right? But we want to hook our viewers and bring them in. And this is really important. Hooked within the first 3 seconds of the video. Wow. No pressure.
Be real, be authentic, share your pain. Tell them, oh man, I was over here doing this and I realized this. Make it short and sweet, like just something you're learning, something you thought would be interesting and valuable. And I was working with a client. They're like a sleep doctor or a sleep coach, and I was like, look, just be authentic. Ask like, what questions are you asking? Just share that. And they went into it, and all of a sudden, all their socials start blowing up because they're just being real.
It's amazing, a little reality, and do it right from the beginning, right? Start off with something that's going to grab their attention, regardless of whether you're doing a video, whether you're doing a social media post or a blog, whatever it is. And we always hear Oz loves the LinkedIn, right? He's always talking about use a hook. You need a hook, everything. It's true, you need a hook.
Yep.
Right? So on social channels, drive awareness, preference, educate, convert prospects with your videos and the sites and your apps, right? 84% of online shoppers report they watched a video prior to making an e-commerce purchase. Think about that for a second. 84%. So if you're selling something online, you might want a video to advertise that, support that, or on your landing page, talking about what it does and how cool it is, testimonials, whatever, right? You need something going on there, letting people know a little bit more about your product or your service. That's a big number, 84%.
Wow.
Right?
I'm so glad you're bringing these stats in. This is very important.
Yeah, you got to look at the numbers once in a while. Numbers don't lie, right? So short videos turn customers into brand advocates with great product demos, right? So if you're going to share that and you've got a really cool one and you're talking about whatever that product is, right? People like it, they share it. It's amazing. They become your sales force for you, right? New product announcements, live events, all those kind of things are all video related that you can let people know about what's going on and what you're doing. Right?
I've noticed something that the videos on socials are really doing well. The algorithms are very helpful. And with that, I've also noticed there's other ways to use video, like after somebody books an appointment. I wouldn't necessarily send it randomly to like whoever, just in like direct messages without, without a context or something. But once somebody books an appointment with you, why not trigger them over to like, hey, thanks for booking an appointment. Here's what to expect. Like, if you have anything any questions between now and the time we meet, here's a way to get a hold of me. Like, there's nothing wrong with like triggering a video in an appropriate time or something that makes sense to the larger audience. And this is really becoming kind of a norm, like a normal thing that business owners do now. So this is great.
Well, and you think about it, it gives them, if you haven't met with them before, it gives them an opportunity to get a feel for your personality before they even go into the meeting with you, right? So they feel a little bit more comfortable, like they know you a little bit better. If your video mentions expectations, right? So they can walk in feeling a little bit more comfortable and confident.
Yep. Good.
After purchase, customers want instructional videos, right? The how-tos on how to make things work, right? So there's a lot of different ways we can use videos, right? So take a moment and ask yourself, am I using videos in what I'm doing? Would it make sense to do more, right? Where can I add videos into my business, right? So you can have all sorts of things. You think about what kinds of things you can do, right? Culture, lifestyle videos, because a lot of times our brand is more than just the object or just the service, right? More than just the product. It's promoting a particular kind of lifestyle, like building a certain type of culture, right? So why not incorporate that into your videos, right? Great place to put your customer testimonials and reviews. Thought leadership. So if you're thinking about things in a new way and you want people to, see what those possibilities are, right? Employee generated videos is awesome too. I always say to the small business owners that are like, I'm just too busy. I don't have time to do anything else. Okay, well, do you have employees? Right? What are they already doing that they can share as part of their day?
Come on,
And
these
you'd be
are good
amazed.
tips. these are good tips. User-generated content, employee-generated videos.
Mhm.
Your team can help, and this is great. This is good. Good tips.
These are all really, and it makes sense. As long as you say, hey, get it ready, come over, show it to me. I'll say yes, post or change this word, boom, go, right? I mean, they did most of the work. All you had to do was read it real quick before they hit post, right? So there's a lot of ways to bring other people into it. Like we talked about guest blogging, right? Guest videos. I mean, you could do a video with somebody else and you could put it on your channel and their channel and do exposure on both sides of it, right? So
Christine,
there's a
before we
lot of,
bring in the panel to
yeah.
ask you some questions, how do people get a hold of you to learn more about these topics?
I'm pretty sure it's in here somewhere. So think about what kind of videos you want to make and blogging, direct messages, short videos. And here we go.
All
Book a
right.
no-cost coaching session. And this isn't just for me. This actually will take you to all of our coaches. So if you go ahead and do a little shot with that with your phone, so pull up your little camera, and it'll pull up our Giver Marketing Coaching. So you can book an appointment with, I'll be on there. There's other coaches in there too. And we love to help with this kind of stuff. This is our idea of fun. Okay. When we can sit down with a business owner and say, hey, let's add some more cool stuff into your marketing.
Awesome. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, also, ping Christine Deane, connect with her on LinkedIn, on Facebook. She's
Yeah.
active on a lot of these platforms. So just whatever platform you tend to frequent, reach out to Christine Deane on that platform, and she'll be able to catch that. And so with that, I'm going to bring up Oz and Joel, and we are ready to rock with our kind of our roundtable discussion and go in a little bit more conversational around these topics even more, with some kind of questions that Joel or Oz might have. I might have some questions as well. Oz, what do you got as far as a question today? Joel, what are you thinking as well?
Yeah, it's interesting, Christine. I wasn't going to come today, and twice over the last 24 hours, the words blogging just hit me. I don't know from where. And then I saw what you were teaching today. I'm like, the universe led me here today. I needed to hear what Christine had to say, and you know how much I love you. So my question is, it's a two-parter. Can I create a blog on my existing website? Okay, I'm going to call ASF later today and talk to them about doing that. And when I do video blogs, because I'm good in front of a camera, do I host them on YouTube and put the link on the blog? Do I host it on the website? How do I do those things?
Okay. First questions first, which was what? How to add it to what you currently have, right?
Right.
Okay, so if you've got a website, I tend to play a lot in WordPress. And so you can add in a blog feature on that. Even if you chose to blog somewhere else that was dedicated to blogging, you could add a link to that on your website and people will go there too. So that's a nice, easy fix. So everybody can always add a blog to what they do, okay? And you can take that blog, like we said, distribute it in many different ways, including your email and all that good stuff, right? Okay, and the second question was, help me.
Videos. So if I want to video,
the video side. Okay.
I host it on YouTube and then put the link on the blog.
Yeah. Well, and the nice thing about hosting it on YouTube is that you can bring in followers there too, right? People search for content and that kind of stuff. And you can also take it and you can transcribe that and have that blog so that you can put other places and say, hey, if you want to watch the video here too. So you can use both.
Cool. Sweet.
Yeah. YouTube, tell me, Christine, do you know if YouTube has that pretty clean transcription tool built into it now, or is that still developing? I'm trying to remember if they've developed that well enough to where it's worth using, or if there's a third-party tool that would be better.
I always use third-party tools, but that's me, whether it's a Descript or if you're uploading a video to one of your note taker tools, right? They'll transcribe it for you. So there's other tools that you can use also.
Okay.
And that's just kind of what I normally do, but there's many right answers.
Okay.
Hey, Tim, the best one I've found, strangely enough, is on TikTok. TikTok, when they do it, it's almost spot on every time. And you can edit it.
Wow. Good. Thank you, guys.
Now, are we talking about the script that goes underneath?
Yes. TikTok is phenomenal for that.
Exactly, which is different than having the whole thing, because you want to be able to take the whole thing and drop it, because videos really SEO can't read your videos, right? So you
Huh.
actually want to take the transcript and also put that in Word format separate.
There's a tool that I've been playing with called VidSummize, VidSummize. And that's, look, it's a Chrome extension. Maybe it's another, maybe there's other tools similar to it, but it's definitely been helpful for taking a YouTube video and taking the whole script and at least summarizing it so that it's readable and it's not just the transcript. So that's been interesting to kind of play with for sure. Joel, any questions for Christine or around these topics?
Yeah, I think one of the questions that I always put to my customers as well, and maybe you can give us some good insight on this, is that when we create long form content, how many different posts can we create out of that brings them back to the blog? So do you find that there's, by doing that, you're seeing any SEO bumps, or kind of what's your opinion on all that?
I really think when you do long content, remember that can be broken down into smaller, right? So a lot of times people, for example, what we're talking about today, we covered 3 different areas, right? Each one of those could be its own thing, sending people back to this video or a longer blog post, right? So you can break that down into just one small concept and keep sending people back to that.
Great point. So you're talking about writing your master like concept with maybe 3 points, main points in it, and then taking those and pulling them apart, if I'm understanding what you're saying, and then maybe doing a shorter post on some of the social platforms, bringing them all back to the master like master blog or the master YouTube video or whatever it is. So it all kind of funnels back into something.
And you could even do an image with a short quotation that relates to that specific area that you're talking about in that social media post, right?
Interesting. So really we could take, it's not as much just repurposing as it is dissecting, repurposing, and guiding folks back to the larger body of work. Wow.
Right. And when you think about it, large documents have so much information, and there's sometimes we lose the little nuggets in there, right? So why not grab some of those nuggets and emphasize just that nugget, right? And pick some favorites. And some people aren't going to read the whole thing, right? So maybe we just need to help make it a little bit more digestible for them, right? Putting it in smaller chunks.
I've seen a lot of blogs where somebody will summarize the content in a quick video, like, hey, below we're going to be talking about this. Here's the main points. And sometimes they do the full video, but sometimes it's just a summary too. And I love that because there's different people that are learning. They're learning differently, right, Christine? Like some people learn better by reading and some people learn better auditorily by listening. And then if you get the visual involved, everybody kind of experiences some help from that. So that's probably why video is starting to become kind of the thing, right?
It really is. And whenever you can add video to it, right, it just enhances the experience. It goes along with, like I said, the goldfish mentality. Our attention span's really short. So please grab it, keep it.
Cool. Really good questions. Christine, do you have any last thoughts here that would kind of put a bow on our conversation? And thank you, Oz and Joel, for kind of livening up the roundtable discussion here. Really appreciate that. Christine, what do you got as far as kind of wrapping a bow on this?
Don't be afraid to try new things. If you haven't done it before, sometimes we trip, we fall. And it's okay. Get back up. Give it another try, right? And that's why you have experts out there to give you a hand, right? So if you want to try something new, whether it's blogging, whether it's direct messaging, whatever it is that you want to try, reach out. We're here to help. The Giver Marketing, we really do give, and we really love to help. So we have a lot of coaches on hand that have experience in these areas. So don't ever be afraid to try something new. You don't have to do it alone.
Awesome. Well, listen, everybody type in Christine Deane's name in the comments so that's very clear how to spell her last name, Deane. And
I could probably post that also.
Light it up in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give her some love, some claps, some fire, some thank you for sharing with us today, Christine Deane. And for those who would like to connect with her directly, do that. Make it happen today, right now. She'll respond to you, whether you're listening to this recording or live. Make it happen so that she can serve you well and answer the questions you have around these topics. And thank you again to our panel for coming in and asking some great questions. And we will see you tomorrow for the networking time, givermarketing.com/networking.
That's right. If you want to come network with me tomorrow,
Right,
givermarketing.com/networking, you come hang out with us. Same time slot as our event today. So come back and hang out with us again tomorrow. It's 8 a.m. Pacific Coast, 10 a.m. Central on Wednesdays. So networking for marketers. If you're a marketer, don't be a lowlypreneur. Come hang out with us.
Yeah, I put the link in the comments there, so those that are on the social feeds will be able to see that. God bless you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Woo-hoo. Talk to you soon.